Let's clear up some misinformation about women, femininity, and relationships. Welcome to day 26. I'm Dr. Nicole, and today I'm reacting to common red pill talking points and offering actual psychology to balance the conversation. As a psychologist who works with both men and women, I see how these extreme viewpoints are affecting real relationships. And as someone who teaches feminine energy, I want to address the misconceptions about what femininity actually is and what healthy relationships actually look like. This isn't about attacking anyone or getting into online debates. This is about bringing nuance, wisdom, and psychological insight to conversations that have become oversimplified and often harmful. The first issue I see in red pill spaces, many of them, is a fundamental misunderstanding of what femininity actually is. Red pill ideology often sees softness as weakness, submission as doormat behavior, and feminine energy as manipulation or performance. But as we've been learning throughout this challenge, true femininity is actually incredibly powerful. It's emotional intelligence, intuition, the ability to influence through presence rather than force. Soft women aren't weak, they're regulated. They don't explode because they know how to process their emotions. They don't need to control everything because they trust the process. Feminine submission isn't about being a doormat, it's about choosing to flow with someone you trust and respect, someone who's earned that trust through consistent, loving behavior. The red pill often presents femininity as either manipulation, like women using their sexuality to get what they want, or weakness, women being unable to handle reality. But both of these miss the mark completely. True femininity is about being so secure in yourself that you don't need to manipulate anyone. It's about being so emotionally intelligent that you can handle reality better than most people. The second issue is how red pill ideology oversimplifies men's emotional needs. It often presents men as purely logical beings who don't need emotional connection, who only care about physical attraction, who are incapable of deep emotional bonds. But in my practice, I work with men who are desperate for emotional connection, men who want to be seen, understood, and loved for who they are, not just what they provide. Healthy masculinity isn't about suppressing emotions or avoiding any type of vulnerability. It's about being strong enough to be vulnerable with the right person, confident enough to show up authentically in all spaces, and secure enough to love deeply. The red pill often tells men that women don't really love them, that women are only interested in what men can provide, but this creates a self fulfilling prophecy. When you approach relationships with suspicion and defensiveness, you attract people who confirm those beliefs. It's a confirmation bias. Emotionally healthy men understand that healthy women do love deeply, do value emotional connection, and do want genuine partnership. The third issue is the dangerous oversimplification of complex human relationships. Red pill ideology often presents relationships as a game with winners and losers, where men and women are fundamentally at odds with each other. But healthy relationships aren't built on fear or competition. They're built on emotional maturity, mutual respect, and genuine care for each other's well being. Yes, indeed. Men and women often have different communication styles. I talk about that a lot. Different emotional needs, different ways of showing love. But these differences can be complementary rather than combative. The problem with extreme generalizations is that they ignore individual differences. They ignore personal growth as well as the complexity of human psychology. Not all women are the same. Not all men are the same. Not all relationships follow the same pattern. When you approach dating and relationships with rigid rules and assumptions, you miss the opportunity to actually know the individual person that's right in front of you. You start seeing people as representatives of their gender rather than unique human beings with their own stories, wounds, strengths, as well as capacity for growth. So, how do we, as women who are committed to our feminine energy, respond to these viewpoints? Number one is stay grounded. Don't let extreme opinions throw you off your center. You know who you are. You know your worth. You know what healthy relationships look like. Then you regulate your nervous system. When you encounter content that triggers you, use the tools we've learned. Take a breath, soften your shoulders. Don't react from a place of activation, just leave it there. Respond with clarity, not defensiveness. If you do choose to engage in these conversations, do it from a place of wisdom, not emotion. Share your perspective without trying to convince anyone who's not open to hearing it. And please refuse to argue. Feminine energy doesn't need to prove itself through debate. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth or the validity of your experience. Here's what I want you to remember: the men who are attracted to red pill ideology are often men who have been hurt, who feel powerless, who are looking for simple answers to complex problems. While their conclusions might be wrong, their pain is often real. Responding with compassion doesn't mean agreeing with harmful viewpoints, but it does mean recognizing the humanity in everyone. The best response to red pill ideology isn't argument, it's embodiment. When you live as a healthy, feminine, emotionally mature woman, you become living proof that their generalizations are dead wrong. Here's what I think is really happening. We live in a time when both men and women are confused about their roles, their identities, and how to relate to each other. Traditional gender roles have shifted, but we haven't developed new models for healthy masculinity and femininity. So people are grasping for answers, often finding extreme viewpoints that promise simple, easy solutions. But relationships aren't simple. Human psychology isn't simple. Love certainly isn't simple. What we need isn't more rules or strategies or ways to gain power over each other. What we need is more emotional intelligence, more self awareness, more capacity for genuine connection. We need men and women who have done their own healing work, who understand themselves, who can show up authentically in relationships. Let's bring nuance, wisdom, and softness back to the conversation about relationships, about marriage, about how to move forward. Instead of engaging in gender wars, let's focus on becoming the kind of people who can love and be loved in healthy ways. Instead of trying to win arguments online, let's focus on winning at actual relationships, IRL, in real life. Your feminine energy, your emotional maturity, your capacity for love. These are your responses to a world that has forgotten how beautiful healthy relationships can be. Make sure you hit subscribe for day 27, where I'm sharing why I created Boundaries to Bliss, the personal story behind the work that I do. Tell me in the comments, how do you stay centered when you encounter extreme viewpoints about relationships? How do you deal with being triggered? I'll see you tomorrow. I'm Dr. Nicole.